That Great Business Show, Ireland's best business podcast.
Welcome to episode 168 of That Great Business Show, where we are delighted to say we won the highly commended award at the Irish Podcast Awards. We're also home of great business tips, insights and opportunities on every episode, delivered in our commute-friendly package. All thanks to daft.ie, Ireland's #1 property website. If you're looking for your first home or looking to upsize or downsize your abode, make sure you visit daft.ie to find that next place you call home. I am Conall O Morain, Fáilte. We have 3 businesses that will inspire you on this episode. One owner decided school wasn't for him. He went to work early, learnt from the University of Life, and now employs around 10 people in his fast-growing ice cleaning business. And we'll explain all of that, but better still, he's just brought his GM with him, and they're going to have a tussle in studio. Another business saw its co-founder head to Trinity College, then to the London School of Economics, spent 10 years with Guinness owner Diageo as Director of Innovation and Ideation, great name, of North America. And then, in that spirit that we so love, 2 years ago, she started her own company, Parch, a non-alcoholic spirits company based in New York, New York. It's part of our Beachhead USA mini-series, the ultimate crib sheet for those setting up businesses in the US. And though I have chatted to probably over 4,500 companies over the years, I'm having a first, as I didn't know we had a personal audio equipment company in Ireland. We do, proving every day in business, including this one, is a school day.
If it's for sale, it's on daft.ie, Ireland's #1 property website. Whether you're looking for your first home or planning your next move, make sure you're on daft.ie, the best place to buy or sell in Ireland.
Travel to Connecticut, USA with Aer Lingus service to Bradley International Airport. With the daily flights from Dublin to Hartford, we make business travel to Connecticut easy. Save time with US pre-clearance, enjoy Aer Lingus award-winning flight service, and experience the convenience of Bradley International Airport, perfectly situated for your travel needs. Learn more and plan your next business trip at aerlingus.com.
Right, Damien McDonnell is CEO of the dry ice cleaning company called Polar Ice Tech. It's a company he knew he wanted to buy as soon as he started working there. Now, business, as we know, can be serendipitous as to what you end up doing. Damien was allowed to leave school early, but only if he headed immediately for paid employment, which he did. He found he was good at selling, and having joined Smacht, that's an organisation that says it's a business therapy program for positive business owners, he found a way to make his business ambitions come true and buy that business. He's now on a mission to convert businesses to using his freezing carbon dioxide as a specialist cleaning product, and it's a business that I want to know more about. Damien is here, but so is Mairead O'Donnell, no relation. It's Damien McDonnell, and she's a business partner who joined the company 8 years ago, and she's still there. And that is despite that they told me they tussle almost every day. Welcome both to That Great Business Show.
Thank you, Conall.
Thank you, Conall.
What, for hanging you? How do I start? First of all, let's just clear the air, get this thing out of the way, because nobody knows what you actually do. What is the company, Polar Ice Tech?
So we use dry ice, which is a solid carbon dioxide, and we clean moisture-sensitive or abrasive-sensitive process or production equipment.
So you're not cleaning carpets, you're not cleaning windows,
no,
nothing domestic. You're talking business to business.
Yes, all business, all industry, all manufacturing, generally manufacturing facilities. Most of our customers are blue chip, a lot of them multinational, and we would generally clean, as I said, a lot of process and production equipment where dry ice has a lot of unique features compared to other traditional methods. So
it's clean.
It's clean.
It's in the
clean
air.
For the environment. Yeah, absolutely.
Lots of it.
Lots of it, yeah. So it's just it's captured at source, it's reused and recycled. So it is classed as a carbon neutral media. So it is very much a sustainable media. It's environmentally friendly. There's no toxic chemicals in it. It is just solid carbon dioxide.
And you are on a mission, because the reason you're here, that you've driven 2.5 hours from Middleton, is to make sure that the rest of Ireland knows that they could be cleaning using your product. Because not everybody in Ireland seems to know about it. Did you tell me that the Americans are about 25 years ahead?
Yes, I would say so, probably for a couple of reasons. But I suppose we're trading 18 years as well, But there's been a lot since the buyout. I suppose we've changed how we do business. We've put a huge focus and emphasis on trying to educate industry. But we do find we come up against the people not convinced, not being too sure about it a lot of the time. But also it can be considered more expensive than traditional methods. A lot of the time when that happens, they're not including all the other variables or all the other considerations, Such as, I suppose, the time that is required, if you're using water or chemicals or whatever. There's a lot of secondary waste, a lot of considerations around disposing of that waste. And if there's chemicals involved, it's hazardous. That sometimes is not considered when they're looking at from a price perspective.
Because you can't come up with your little nozzle and go like that.
Yes.
Is that good? Does that sound like it?
It does, yeah. Yeah, it does. So trying to convince people is probably the biggest challenge, So we would do a lot of what we call proof of concept trials for lots of different industries, like the medtech and the pharma in particular. There's a huge drive on for, they're looking at alternatives to reduce water consumption, I suppose, in particular, or to be more sustainable. So it very much aligns with more sustainable manufacturing and decarbonisation plans and strategies for companies. And a lot of the time, we still believe and we still see it's dry ice cleaning is overlooked, where a lot of industry are looking at these far bigger spend on, it could be anything from wind turbines, but they're not really looking at the smaller, quicker wins, like something like changing to dry ice cleaning, for instance. So I suppose this is why we're here, to
tell the world.
Tell, inform and educate, and hopefully that will run true.
One of the things I was delighted to see when I was just checking you out was you've actually cracked Northern Ireland. You've managed to get business out of Northern Ireland.
Yes, we have.
How did you do that?
Back in 2017, we're an Enterprise Ireland client and Leo client and Intertrade Ireland client. And we applied for, it was an Intertrade, the Elevate program, where we had someone that we worked with to develop leads in the north who had a pretty significant network of individuals. So,
which of you, Mairead, I'm looking at you as well, can talk to me about that? I'm really interested in that. Leads. Everybody in business just wants leads. Who drove the leads?
An external contractor at the time.
But you went through Intertrade and you got funding for that, was it, to get leads?
We did, yeah. It was actually Leo and Intertrade.
Which Leo are you with?
Cork South. They have been amazing over the years, very supportive. So they aligned with Intertrade on this program. So I think there was about 7 or 8 Cork companies went to the north to meet local companies in the north. And then we were designated a lead generator for X amount of hours a week. And that's kind of how it started, basically. So we ended up opening a premises up there for a number of years.
Brilliant.
And it developed from there.
Every company should have one if they can afford it, if they can find it. Now, Mairead, I have not forgotten about you, because there's a little further backstory. I mentioned at the very beginning that Damien thought about buying the company when he was on a thing called the SMOCT program. But you have a family connection there.
Yes, that's right, Conall. So Damien was on the SMOCT program with Pádraig Abhaile, and my mother, who's a serial businesswoman, she's an excellent businesswoman, and
you better give her name.
Patricia O'Donnell. Yeah, and she was on the SMOCT program with Damien and with 2 other people, and they formed a group within the SMOCT group, and my mother and 2 other people were helping Damien to buy the company. And as all good Irish mammies do, once Damien had bought, she said, "I've the girl for you now in marketing." That was almost 8 years ago.
No, who was that girl?
Oh, that was me. Yeah. So I had
because you had a program, you had a company.
I had my own company at the time, Purple Dandelion. I had actually just started in business by myself, and Damien was my second or third client at the time, and I actually met Damien out of a favour to my mother. So my mother said, I want you to meet this friend of mine. He needs some marketing done. So I said, no problem. Now, Conall, I come from the softer skills. And journalism is my background and marketing, and I'm definitely not technical. So when I first met Damien, he said, we do a thing called cryogenic cleaning. And I was like, oh, right, okay. And he said, yeah, we increase production and reduce downtime and everything. And I thought, oh my God, this is so boring, and
it's been downhill since then.
So I thought, oh my goodness, because my brain was more on that creative side. And I went on a 24-week project with Damien. And by the end of the 24 weeks, I had realised what Damien had obviously realised in his time working in Polarized Tech. It's an incredible company. Damien's an incredible person to work with. And I didn't want to leave, but I still had my own company. I had my own clients, but I didn't want to leave the teamwork that was happening in Polarized Tech. And Damien asked me to come full time, and I had other family commitments that I couldn't go full time. And he said, yeah, sure, that's fine. And this is 8 years ago. And I said, yeah, but I can't be in the office now every day. And he said, yeah, sure, that's fine. Can't you work from home? And I said, yeah, but
And this is pre-COVID.
This is pre-COVID.
Absolutely.
So Damien has always been pioneering like that in terms of he let me work from home. I told him that, I wasn't much good in sales. And he said, that's fine. We'll call it customer engagement. And of course, I was like an idiot going, yeah, that's fine. But I ended up working in sales, and 24 weeks turned into this March coming up will be 8 years. Yeah. That I'll have been with Polarized.
And another thing you were talking about, because we were chatting just before we went live here, is that coming up from Middleton, 2.5 hours in the car, time very usefully spent. It's kind of something we don't think about. The pair of you are plotting and scheming in the car, or car or train?
No, it's the car. And
as you travel, yeah.
Yeah, we were chatting earlier. Damien and I are definitely not in the business of glamorizing business at all, and we've had. We're currently enjoying great success. Polarized Tech the team in Polarized Tech have worked exceptionally hard to get where we are, but we weren't always there. And there was one time where there was just Dave and myself and 2 other part-timers in the business, and they were working on site, and there was literally nobody else in the business. And so I was based, now I have to declare I'm a Limerick woman. So I was based in Limerick, and Damien was based in Cork, and this was pre-COVID, and it just wasn't working. So what we would do is, Damien was on sales calls, and I would go in the car, and we would work the entire time in the car together and use that time to make decisions or to discuss strategic things that we were doing or to move things forward. So we were resourceful young business people thinking, how can we make this work? And literally the car and all those journeys, we have literally traveled the length and breadth of Ireland together, and we have, what we've built together. And the car has been that. So today, coming up in the car, we spent 2.5 hours talking about different plans we have in place or different things that we're going through. And, we would spend that time. And you were the person actually, Damien, who said, that this is such a useful
it kind of comes back to the lean mindset, I suppose, because I've had a lean mindset since I was pretty young, not realizing or not using the word lean at the time, I suppose, but and I know we'd be similar that way, I suppose, lean, continuous improvement. And I looked at, I spent a lot of time on the road, like even before I joined Polarized Tech, and just trying to be as efficient as I can possibly when driving, because it can be inefficient, and the AirPods in particular changed my efficiency massively, because the quality of the phone calls in the car, in the vehicle, and not have that background noise that the customer would potentially hear, I suppose, So, yeah, I'm invested. I'm after going through many different types of AirPods at this stage. And it's just things like that, I suppose. Utilising the time that is available as opposed to just possibly considering it as driving time only,
The pair of you are in love with the business. Where are you going to bring the business next?
We've lots of different plans, developing the specific sectors, I suppose, pharmaceutical in particular, and the medtech. Medtech has been always our number one sector from probably 14 years at this stage.
Give me an example of what you do in, say, in medtech. Do you go into one of the well-known companies and spray down their machinery or something?
We clean their process and production equipment. Yeah, so two companies in particular, we're in the foundries there, and we clean on a very regular basis. So the return is quite short for these 2 companies. In the pharma, we clean we're starting to clean a lot of the process equipment. So like reactor vessels, milling machines, tablet presses, that type of stuff. So ultimately, in pharma, the batches now are a lot shorter because the drug batches are shorter. So they have more cleaning. And once they finish one batch, there's always a very long period of time, or can be a long and laborious cleaning time before they're ready for the other batch. So they're looking for something different and something quicker. And that's where dry ice comes in.
I'm always amused. When did you start learning about batch times for the med business?
Not in school.
But isn't it true? You know, when you have to, you suddenly say, God, what's the problem? And you try to fix it for them, yeah?
Absolutely, yeah. Like, I suppose I definitely have an engineering mindset, and unbeknownst to myself for so many years, like, that's just my background in sales, because I went straight out of school into a hydraulic company called Redwood Hydraulics, and just learnt about hydraulics there, but also learnt about selling. And I just the interest started from there, and I was very hungry just to learn more about industry and about manufacturing sites.
And reading between the lines, you are not alone on this planet or on this little island with your cryogenic cleaning, are you? Are there other companies doing it as well?
There's at the moment, we know there's one other company. Sometimes they come from the UK and further afield for different projects, but we are the only company doing it at this level.
And if they're coming in from the UK, can you go back into the UK against them, if you like?
Yeah, we do. We travel to the UK. We used to go there a lot more frequently for a number of sectors, but we just focus on power generation now. I suppose the projects are longer, so they're significantly more value. They're more profitable.
Is this what you discussed in the car? Is it?
No, because we are very clear. I suppose we're very clear on what's profitable at the end of the day and what's not.
But you're obviously doing a lot of your own analysis there to see. You're running your Excel sheets, are you?
Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah.
And we've even done early this year, or it's kind of ongoing. We've done a big customer or market segmentation project. So we have very clearly defined what's our most profitable customer, what's our more profitable, even time of year, we'll say, right down to the detail. So it allows us to plan far better and strategize far better, even from a sales perspective.
Who does that analysis for you? Yourselves, or do you outsource that?
This was led by Mairead. You can discuss that. You're the expert in this area.
Just around the neck.
I think for me, one of the things I've really enjoyed about my time in Polaristic is that I've always moved from project to project within it, and always trying to leave a trail of change. And I suppose this year, my focus was very much on making sales better, because someone who doesn't need us doesn't want to talk to us. And we don't want to waste their time, but equally they don't want to waste ours either, you know. And I suppose we had to look at how can we raise this to a whole new professional level. I happen to have done a course, just because I'm interested in continuous learning in MTU. It was called Sales and Sales Techniques and Strategy. And there was a gentleman on that course who was exceptional. And I thought, we could do with you in Polar Ice Tech. And he came in as a consultant and worked with us, really digging down. And it was real laborious work. Absolutely a brilliant guy in sales, absolutely brilliant. And worked at really helping us understand what is a DMU, what is the decision-making unit, who's in the decision-making unit, who wants to talk to you, and why do they want to talk to you, and what do they want to talk to you about. But then looking at, we have this drawing in my office, and it started with, if we had world domination as a start, and we thought, no, we don't want world domination. And do we want to dominate Europe? No, we don't want. And next thing we broke it all the way down right to, well, what are the sectors that we want to work in, and what are the sectors who want us to work in them, and who are the people within that who actually need our help, because I suppose, you were chatting to Damien there about the power generation sector in the UK. Like, the power generation sector, it's a very expensive business. There's no doubt, and the work that we do and the work that our team does on site can reduce their downtime very significantly. So if it takes X amount of money to run a power station per day, then it's in their interest that they're running more than they are down. And that's what our team provide. And, we're very fortunate with the team we have in Polar Ice Tech. We have incredible team members who our reputation precedes us because of them. Our professionalism, our commitment to excellence, our experience on those type of sites. So what we wanted to look at in sales was, how can we all work together as a lean, mean machine? You know, how can we understand what these segments are? And we broke it down. We eventually got about 15 different segments. And then we looked at our top 10 and said, okay, how can we work this? And our sales team have really taken this on. And also our customers have responded because they're going, yeah, we want to talk to you about this. You know, so,
Great.
You know, that's where there's business success for everybody, customer included, you know, and that's what we want.
And before I forget, MTU is the Munster
Technological University in Cork.
Yeah. Okay, because that's everybody should know that their local technological college or university is a great source of brains.
Oh, incredible. Yeah. Incredible.
Which is a perfect segue for me to ask my final question of you both. You have both been prepped because I have asked. We'll start, Damien, with you. Who would you hire in a heartbeat?
So my answer is probably not what you're expecting, right? I
expect the unexpected. I'm like Monty Python and what was it called? The Spanish Inquisition.
So for me, Mairead, I know I have hired her already, right? But I suppose, and the reason this is probably cringy, no, right? But the type of individual Mairead is the diligence, the work ethic, the commitment, the professionalism. She has it. She has everything, and she has it in spades. And I suppose the reason why I want to mention Mairead in this, because it's easy for me to say Richard Branson, I know we briefly mentioned earlier, or lots of other very famous business people. But for me, it's more important to recognise the person that Mairead is, or the people we have in the business. And I'll go one further, and I will say the same thing for everyone that's working in the business at the moment, because we can overlook that sometimes, and I don't want it to be overlooked, because it's such an integral part of the success of Polar Ice Tech.
And Mairead, you must have got this from the mammy, did you? Like your diligence, your work ethic, your understanding of business, did that come from the mammy?
And my father, yeah, both of them were in business. I grew up in a shop, and you know, we lived over the shop. So when we came home from school and we did our homework, we were straight into the shop. And like I was putting money in wage packets before I even knew what I was actually doing, you know, and I told about stock rotation and, you know, and cleaning shelves and all of this work and ordering stock. I didn't even know what I was doing at the time. You know, I was a teenager, but my mother's been in business all her life. My father then when I was a teenager. But yeah, absolutely, definitely. I've a lot to...
That's called imprinting.
Yeah.
What is your choice, Mairead O'Donnell, for your hire in a heartbeat?
Am I meant to say Damien now?
If you do,
please don't.
If you do, I'm going to cut it out because this is probably cringy.
No. I think, you know, for the last short number of years, we've really been looking for an operations director, and it's hard to say who, but definitely the type of person we're looking for is someone who can actually lead with us and make mistakes with us and argue with us and, you know, drive the business forward. We did have a gentleman working with us quite a number of years ago. His name is Jonathan Langley, and he moved on in the business for natural organic reasons, you know, and the type of character he was, incredible work ethic, you know, pull out all the stops, incredible in front of the customer, logistically brilliant. That's
and you want him back?
Yes.
Will both of you take him back?
Oh, absolutely, yeah. In a heartbeat, yeah.
And his name again?
Jonathan Langley.
Hey, there's a job for you down Polar Ice Tech. Get down there quick. Both of you, great story. And anybody who wants to do business will find you down in Middleton, Polar Ice Tech. Did you say you also have a unit up in Northern Ireland?
No, not anymore.
Okay.
We actually closed it a number of years ago.
Okay, well, you still they know where the phone number is anyway.
Absolutely, yeah.
Lovely. Thank you so much for joining us on That Great Business Show.
That Great Business Show. De facto, the revolutionary shaving oil, changing the face of shaving. For the smoothest shave of your life, just add water. No more lathering up or cleaning up afterward. Just add a few drops of water and you're ready to go. De facto's blend of all natural oils hydrates and protects your skin. No more razor burns or irritation. A spa treatment for your face. Perfect for all skin types and lasts so much longer than traditional foams or gels. De facto, a shaving revolution. Just add water. Available from selected pharmacies and from defactoshave.com.
Are you buying or selling a home? If it's for sale, it's on daft.ie, Ireland's #1 property website.
Travel to Connecticut, USA with Aer Lingus service to Bradley International Airport. With the daily flights from Dublin to Hartford, we make business travel to Connecticut easy. Save time with US pre-clearance, enjoy Aer Lingus award-winning flight service, and experience the convenience of Bradley International Airport, perfectly situated for your travel needs. Learn more and plan your next business trip at aerlingus.com.
All that great business show advertisers are Team GBS approved. Back them.
I have always loved my tech, and over the years I've done communications work with the likes of Compaq, HP, Microsoft, Adobe, and the like. However, until a few weeks ago, I never, ever knew we had an Irish brand of audio technology that makes wireless earbuds and headphones. OneSonic is the brand, and David Cawley is the man. And like all great businesses, David has some big plans. I'm trying to make it even rhyme there, David. Welcome to That Great Business Show.
Thank you, Conall, and hi to your listeners.
Where did you sneak out this one from?
OneSonic, I guess, depends on how far back you want to go. I've been a musician since I was 3 years of age. If you want to go, we'll go back to the start, will we?
Good. It's a very good place to start. Isn't that what Mary Poppins said?
Maybe. So, yeah, I've been playing music since I was 3 years of age. Back where I'm from in Roscommon, my mother, she's a retired music teacher, right? So, and she also is a retired business studies teacher. So instead of putting
That's a great combo.
It is, and she was maths as well. So instead of her paying someone to mind her kids, of course, she threw all her kids into music classes in the music school that was in the house. So I started playing the clarinet when I was 4, and I had to stand on a little shoebox because the distance between my mouth and the floor was shorter than the length of a clarinet. So
that's a lovely story.
Yeah, true story. So I've been playing music since a very young age, and I studied engineering in college. And I think over the years, I was signed to a record label at one stage, recorded a lot of music and did all that.
Hang on, don't skip over that. Were you a star? Were you...
No, I wouldn't have said that, no.
What kind of music were you playing?
Well, it's kind of like a college band, you know. So we wrote a lot of music in college. A good friend of mine, Ronan Cunningham, and we basically formed a band called Super Jimenez. And, sort of kind of like a newer version of Radiohead, if you like. Well, okay. That's what I thought it was anyway.
Maybe a little less successful.
Yeah, less successful. We just didn't get the management bit right, maybe, or something. I don't know. I could offend people very quickly here, but let's move on. But it was, it was a great experience. One of the best experiences I've ever had was.
So you made a pivot from music to back into engineering type stuff, yeah?
Back in through sort of audio engineering, acoustic engineering, and I founded my first company, Allegro Acoustics, in 2010. And Allegro Acoustics is like we're an acoustic and audio design consultancy. We're basically now, Allegro's now, my competitors will love this, so I won't leave it out. Allegro Acoustics is now the leading Irish acoustic consultancy.
Good for you. I love it when people use the opportunity and just, give it a
Give it a little rub. And out of the R&D division then of Allegro Acoustics, I've been working in audio more and more, in audio technology more and more over the years. And out of the R&D division in Allegro, that's where OneSonic came from. Ultimately, we were working with people where I felt, we can do this better ourselves. And I really just wanted to get away from the restrictions that, I could see with the products that we were working with for other people. So I just felt we just have to do this ourselves, do it our own way. So that's where OneSonic came from.
And what you are doing is that R&D and all of the office type stuff has been done in Ireland, the manufacturing being done in China, if I'm right. And world domination is on the horizon. But before we get there, I was looking at your little map of where you can be bought, and you're pretty well populated across this island, but no other island that I could find.
Yeah, correct. So we only launched 3 years ago, and our first year was entirely online on OneSonic.com. And just in the last year, 18 months, we're in a lot of the Euronics stores throughout Ireland, which are superb stores. They're always family run, sort of big stores around the country.
And specialist stores, which is always nice as well.
Yeah, exactly. We're in 3 experience stores as well, and we're also in Motion, Dublin Airport. So it's only the last year, 18 months, when the demand was there and we could see demand there, that we have begun populating stores, and that's Ireland only. So I guess we're still pretty young, really. 3 years is pretty young. So we're just now beginning to look at how do we get outside of Ireland now and internationalise.
So tell me what goes on in your head. How are you taking on the big names? I don't even have to name them. The Sonys, the Apples, the Samsungs, the whatevers. OneSonic?
Yeah, so I guess one of the things that we noticed was I used to ever, sort of be transparent with this observation that I made, previously, because I was always afraid someone would maybe copy my idea of a business. I think every business owner probably has that same fear.
They do. And if you keep it to yourself, it'll never become a business.
I think, well, true, but also after looking back over the last 3 years, I'd challenge anyone to try doing that. It's not easy to get a tech, and we haven't got any investment so far. So we did it. We wanted to prove this business model with sleeves rolled up, do the job, get the product on the market, let the product speak for itself. So how do we take on the big guys? What we noticed, was that a lot of the big brands, like the brands you've mentioned there, reasonably good product, but very high price. 300 euros for a pair of, earphones. When I was a student, when I was younger, I definitely wouldn't have had that. So I always felt we need to have an audio brand. What an audio brand needs to do is it needs to provide the same level of audio quality and sound quality and ergonomic quality so that you can listen to and enjoy your music, but don't break the bank. So that was kind of the early objective. And we felt we could do that because we were watching what the big guys were doing, and I was thinking, you could definitely do some of that differently. Pulling out a lot of technology. Don't forget the big corporate brands, they have a lot of technology going on there that's not for the customer's benefit at all. It's for the corporate benefit, So
what does that mean?
Well, there's a lot of data, data analysis and data recording and stuff going on there. Certain large corporations who I won't name because can't afford to be sued.
So go on.
Well, no, not specifically. But, in terms of building, for example, a voice bank of accents so that you can have an AI that understands voice, we don't need to do any of that because we're not doing voice. So we could afford to take out technology out of the mix and basically focus entirely on hardware. Good quality product, good quality hardware, so that when you do what you want to do, which is listen to music, the hardware is there. You can really enjoy your music because the hardware quality is there. So that's basically the essence of how we take on the big brands. And you will notice on our pricing, for example, that we kind of noticed two things. We noticed the big brands with like really high priced product, and then other smaller, less known brands that were cheaper, but the product quality was desperate. So I just thought, what we need to do? Bring the product quality, but not at the high prices, bring them somewhere in the middle.
Who advises you on that kind of pricing?
You don't need really advice, do you? Because these are all consumer products.
But surely there are fellas, men, women, who specialise in this area and who know what's selling, how it's selling, why it's selling. There's that whole influencer thing, but also the magazines, or whether they're online or in print, are still there doing sound tests on headphones and everything else.
There's a lot of freely available information really in the world we live in today. The internet, it's just such a great thing. Anything you need to know. Like, for example, you can Google right now, any of your listeners, how much of the audio of the wireless earphone market do Apple own? You'll find out in about 30 seconds, they own about 35%, right? A third of the entire market.
That's a chunk.
It's a chunk. So if you then look at everybody who uses that product, why did they use it? Where did they buy it? What demographic are they in? You can really work out a lot for yourself. And it's all right there in front of you. So for me...
But you're taking on, they have invested not billions, zillions into that product, that whole feel, look, and, I'm cool, I wear Apple.
I know. And can you imagine how they feel when they realise that in Ireland we've taken a little market share and we didn't even have investment?
They're sitting there... seething.
See, well, we'd like to think so. But yeah, you're absolutely right. These big brands, where, you know what, if you're to break down what we've done, I break it down into two areas. OneSonic is, as a business, it's encapsulated in two areas. One is product, right? And the other is marketing. And everything feeds into those two areas. And product for me, it is the complicated piece. Audio technology is complicated. There's a lot going on there. But just as it happens with my particular skill set, I guess, and music engineering, and I've studied acoustics as well. And, that bit was actually easy for me. It just required a lot of hard work, which is also easy for me. And so, we've a 5-piece product range now, and I'm the key designer there, basically. So that bit, box ticked, okay? Next bit, marketing. That's where it gets tough up against the big guys because they have huge, big budgets to, do all that stuff. And that's the bit that we're kind of working on now. We have to be clever. As always, we box miles above our weight. We've done it for 3 years now. We're making inroads. So, that's really where the big brands and the corporates have the advantage. It's the marketing budgets.
And how are you going to try to beat them at it? That lad from Paddy Power is available. He's left Flutter, I think, isn't he? He was a clever boy who... Oh, no, sorry, it wasn't Paddy Power. It was Ryanair, the fellow who was doing the online marketing for Ryanair. I can't remember his name.
Michael Corcoran.
Was it? Yeah.
Wonderful man. I know Michael, actually. I had a coffee with him last week.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's Michael Corcoran.
Sorry, I mean, so I say, are you going to hire him?
Well, I don't think we can afford Michael, and I'm not playing games. Well, no, Michael is, just actually now that you ask me, I do know that Michael is in his own consultancy now. Frankly is the name of his consultancy.
That was it, yeah. He's got red hair. I saw him in the photographs of him. I think he's trying to brand himself, yeah.
I've been meaning to ask him about that. But Michael is he's a tremendous individual, and what he's done with Ryanair is just off the charts. You know, there's no brand on the world that has been able to do that. What he's achieved there is literally
Well, he could do that for you.
Well, we had coffee last week, as I said. Yeah, so look, you can be clever. I mean, you know, social media, what you're talking about there, that area, you can be very clever in that area, you know. And I think one of the strengths we have here in Ireland is storytelling. And like Michael is a total thought leader in this, you know, but it's really storytelling, isn't it? How do you tell a corporate story without someone feeling like you're selling to them, basically? We're looking at where we're going to go internationally, and that's a piece that we really want to think about.
What you've been thinking about it. Where are you going to go?
Well, we're very strong in Ireland at the minute, and our big plan for next year is launching in the US.
Now, before you go into the US, and I want to talk to you about that, obviously in great detail, is the UK not the next obvious one straight across over, English-speaking, blah?
Well, true. We're considering the UK also, but the way we're kind of looking at it actually is we've already seen a lot of demand for OneSonic in the US. You know, through some of the marketing we've done, which was just for here. I'll give you an example. We did a piece on the toy show there the year before last, on the Late Late Show. And we got a huge amount of inquiries from the US, and we're sitting there going, we can't fulfill any of this because we're not in the US. So the Irish diaspora in the US is very strong. You know, there's no doubt. And we're completely unique in that regard because we're the only Irish audio brand. And, you know, but one of the key things, we're always product led, right? No matter where we're from or what we're about, we'll always be product led. And product is, you know, earphones, headphones, speakers, our 5-product range, they need to be top notch. So that's how we're going to lead our way into the US. And, you know, I think lean into that diaspora. And plus, I nearly feel like we have a lot more in common with the US than a lot of other countries. So,
which I understand, yeah. But I was shocked that you hadn't heard our mini-series, Beachhead USA, where we are actually doing all the hard work for the likes of you, making introductions and telling you how to sell. There was a wonderful woman on episode 167, a woman called Mairead Pierce, who talked about the New York Minute and how not to waste your time in New York when you're selling. She told you in about 10 seconds how to sell. And she's brilliant. And we got a massive reaction to that. So that's all waiting for you to listen back to, because to get into the States, you will also need cash. And you're trying to raise cash, are you?
Well, firstly, Conall, thanks for the homework. I love getting good homework.
Oh, the people we have for you. We have Governor Ned Lamont. We have Fergal Kenny. We have there's a fabulous guy coming up in a few weeks, Rory Curtin. These stories are brilliant. So they're all waiting for you. Just pop back. It's called Beachhead USA. That's a little mini-series.
Awesome.
So back to your money, or not your money, the money that you need, because everything costs there. Actually, one of the guys, was it last week or 2 weeks ago, you need £1 million per year minimum to set up your business in the States.
Yeah, sure. It is a big move, all right. And, you know, in terms of where we're going with that, we're running an investment round at the minute. And the key thing for us is that we're ready and we're prepared. We know what we're doing in terms of product, how we're going to sell that product. So we're doing an investment round at the minute because obviously there's only so much you can do on your own. Our kind of approach, just to take it back a step, was I remember I was out jogging in about 18 months before we actually launched. I was out for a jog at 3:30 a.m. one night, and I was listening to a podcast. A VC guy in the US was talking about investing in tech, you know. And he used the phrase, you know, tech entrepreneurs need to demo or die right now. There's no point in putting together a business plan saying this is what we're going to do, you know. So, and I've always been critical of that as well. I've always felt that you need to show what you're actually doing first, especially in tech when people don't really know what it is. So we kind of took that a step further and said, we're going to develop our product range. We're going to show how it works, show the sound quality, and we're also going to launch it on a live market and, you know, demonstrate that people can buy this product, we can service them, and they'll be very happy, which is exactly what's happened. We've a rating on Google right now of 4.6, right? Now, granted, the first 7 or 8 of those reviews was my brothers, my mother, some aunties, but the remainder, all the bulk then are all customers,
How does that rank with the others?
It's literally the highest you would find on the internet.
That's very good. Well done.
Yeah, I think
where are you fulfilling, if I can use that awful phrase? Where are you shipping? You're manufacturing, as we mentioned, in China, but where does the box leave from?
Our fulfillment centre is up in Finglas.
Okay.
So all of our product goes in there and it's managed there and is sent out throughout
That's a
Ireland.
nightmare. I mean, when you start shifting 10,000 or 100,000 units, they all have to be stored, there's security, shipped. That's a lot of work.
Listen, when we have to ship 100,000 units, Conall, that'll be a smaller problem at that stage. To be honest with you, the hardest part in a tech company like OneSonic is actually the first 2-3 years. Getting all of the structure in place, the systems in place, building your brand, knowing how to sell your brand online, getting yourself positioned in retail stores. All of that is phenomenally hard work, and you have to get all of it right. Don't forget, you have zero scope for error, none whatsoever. So once you get into the high volume realm, things get so much easier. And the fulfillment, Tuflo, our partners up in Finglas that manage this for us, they're excellent, and they manage all of that for us. Our customers buy today, they get the product tomorrow, done. So that's an easy part to scale, to be honest, not a problem.
That's another thing you can listen back to on the podcast. I think must be probably a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago. Red Sky Europe. I don't know whether you've ever come across them, but they're into fulfillment as well, and they can look after a lot of issues like that. So the money, whose money are you looking for, and how much of their money are you looking for?
So at the minute we're running an investment round which we're going to close in like early 2024.
And when you say you are running it, have you got somebody on board to do that, or are you actually going around with the begging bowl yourself? Or
we have a 2-part actually. I'll tell you what we're going to do. We have a crowdfund that we're going to run through Crowdcube in London. Is our partners there? Crowdcube we chose because they also did the initial crowdfund for a company called Nothing, which are probably the biggest audio brand to launch the last while.
And I know that brand, and it's a clever brand, isn't it?
It is a clever brand. I have to hand it to them. Carl Pay, he's an excellent guy. He knows what he's doing. They have a good team behind them. Actually, their modus operandum, if you like, is Nothing are about making tech fun again. And we would always say, we're like parallel companies. We would always say that OneSonic is about making audio tech about music again, and not about tech, which is what has been the case. So Crowdcube in London are going to do our crowdfund round in early January, and we have a couple of different people involved in that, which is really nice. Really looking forward to that. And we're also probably going to involve some of the venture capital people that we're currently talking to.
Well, VCs only want to give you big loads of money. So are you looking for big loads of money?
Well, look, overall, I think between now and mid of 2024, we're looking at a raise of up to 5 million.
Well, that's okay.
Yeah, so that's what we're going to need to do what we want to do in the US.
And when you say do the US, I mean, it's a massive market, obviously. Do you do as one does, start on the East Coast and head west, or simple like that? Or
yeah, that's the obvious thing to do, I think. And, we're going to beachhead. It's a kind of a beachhead strategy in New York. We've some good connections in New York, and, basically build our brand there first. Like the US is so variant across the different states. It's like they're like different countries. Like down in Texas might as well literally be a different country.
Massive Irish diaspora there. Did you know that?
I did, yeah.
We had Evelyn Moynihan on from the Kilkenny group, maybe again a year and a half ago. And she said to me about the Irish diaspora in Texas. And I went, the what? And she said, huge. And I went, amazing. There you go. I learned.
Amazing, yeah. And I love going to the US myself. I always enjoy going to the US. I think it's fascinating, as well as I like the temperature and the climate over there, to be honest. But the Irish diaspora in the US never cease to amaze me. They're such a strong bunch, and we've good connections there at the minute, who we'll be talking to and I guess leveraging a little bit more. And they know that. I've told them, listen, we're going to leverage you here. We need you on side. So,
well, Digital Irish, just that organisation has 5,000 members. So if each one of them buys one set of earplugs or buds for themselves and another for the family, that's not a bad start. 10,000 of those?
That wouldn't be a bad start. They're the sort of maths we'd be doing ourselves, yeah.
Good. And final question we always ask is, who would you hire in a heartbeat?
Who would I hire in a heartbeat? It's a very hard question to answer that, because it's
done deliberately, and it's done deliberately to see what you're actually thinking of, how big you're thinking, or maybe how little you're thinking. I don't mean how little you're thinking about it, but how small.
So I always have to be kind of realistic in some ways about the person. We actually have always hired graduates in OneSonic, often, because we don't have that much experience in Ireland anyway, so except me, basically. So we often hire graduates. But this is sort of a hypothetical,
of course it is,
a business fantasy land question.
Yeah.
You know who I'd hire in a heartbeat? I'd hire Cillian Murphy, the actor.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah. I think he's
just to look. Is it just to kind of put in the buds and look at the camera?
No, not that at all. That's not what I'm thinking. But I think
he has a fascinating face.
Does he? Do you think?
Of course, that's why he's a world famous actor.
Oh, maybe, yeah.
I mean, sorry, he's acting as well, but just there's something in those eyes.
Right. Yeah, I haven't thought about it like the air. You know what I think about Cillian Murphy as an actor is you know how people often say Tom Hanks never does bad movies.
Mm-hmm.
Cillian Murphy never does bad movies. He never actually does anything bad. You know, every time he delivers, it's better than the last time, and it's always good. Like Oppenheimer was a total masterpiece, and he doesn't say anything. There's no talk.
He's like, in the face, I'm telling you. Just
it's in his
deep
work.
Into his eyes.
He doesn't like talking, I don't think, and he delivers every time. His product is total quality, and I like his intellect as well. I've heard his answers on some stuff. So a guy like him, I think he's a great representative of Irishness. That's
one problem. Remember you said about a 5 million raise. You might just need to double that if you're thinking of...
You said this is hypothetical, didn't
you? Well, aim high. I bet you some of the other ones that we were mentioning could probably dip into his business area. Yeah, that's cool. When will you dominate the world?
Dominating the world has never been something on my mind. I guess we're going to keep doing what we're doing. As time goes on, we get stronger and stronger and stronger.
And then you'd be bought by nothing. Is that what you said?
I don't know what's going to happen on that level, but our brand is getting stronger all the time. And one of the great things...
It's terrific. I'm so happy that I meant to know this stuff and I didn't. So hands up here. But I'm so happy that there is an Irish brand like yours now.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Well, you know what? So am I. I think audio is cool. I think enjoying your music is something that everybody should do. You know, I personally have got so much enjoyment out of music over my entire life. So I've created OneSonic for people to enjoy their music. Our slogan is at one with sound. And it's about, oneness when you're listening to your music and you're enjoying music. And nothing else does that for you. Nothing else can do that. So I'm delighted too, Conall. Thank you that OneSonic is in existence.
And the final question. When are you back on the road with the band?
Oh God, that's retirement, I think. But I am looking forward to retirement.
Great. That is David Cawley. Thank you so much for joining us on That Great Business Show.
If it's for sale, it's on daft.ie, Ireland's #1 property website. Whether you're looking for your first home or planning your next move, make sure you're on daft.ie. The best place to buy or sell in Ireland.
De facto, the revolutionary shaving oil, changing the face of shaving. For the smoothest shave of your life, just add water. No more lathering up or cleaning up afterward. Just add a few drops of water and you're ready to go. De facto's blend of all natural oils hydrates and protects your skin. No more razor burns or irritation. A spa treatment for your face. Perfect for all skin types and lasts so much longer than traditional foams or gels. De facto, a shaving revolution. Just add water. Available from selected pharmacies and from defactoshave.com.
It's all go, let Cursey know on thatgreatbusinessshow.com. That Great Business Show.
When you go looking for a new business, one thing to do is to go trend spotting. Now, as regular listeners to the podcast know, we bring you tips, insights, and business opportunities on every show. And this episode is no different, except this time we're adding the extra ingredient of a trend spotter. Yes, our dynamic team has found us that most rare of animals, a person who was employed as a trend spotter by one of the world's largest drinks companies, Diageo, makers of Guinness. We also often talk about the itch, the non-medical problem that afflicts wannabe entrepreneurs. They simply have got to scratch that itch and set up on their own. Isla Byrne is co-founder of a no-alcohol drinks company that goes by the clever name Parch, P-A-R-C-H. As part of our Beachhead USA mini-series, make sure to go back to all the interviews that were clearly marked Beachhead USA. Isla can talk to us about the challenges of selling no booze in the US. Isla Byrne, welcome to That Great Business Show.
Thank you, Conall. So excited to be here with you.
No booze sells very well. Not. Yes.
Not confusing at all then. Actually, that's one thing that is really helpful. It is the fastest growing category in adult beverages. So it's a super exciting time to be offering consumers something healthier.
And you spent 15 years, well, you did, and you were advising Diageo on that non-alcoholic side, yeah?
Correct.
But what was paying for it was the alcohol. If you follow
me.
It
still is. I mean, that there's people are looking to moderate, but they're not turning away completely from alcohol. That will continue to be a mass part of the market. And what we're trying to offer is just more options. So we're not trying to take away anyone's alcohol.
And what everybody listening in the drinks industry in Ireland wants to know is, well, we'll get on to future trends, because obviously you're still watching future trends, but trying to get into the market here has proven very difficult for Irish brands to get in, be they small, be they middle, or be they large.
Yeah, I spent a lot of time looking at, and speaking with people who tried to break into the US or try to break in not only from Ireland, but from various different countries. I think part of our advantage, both myself and my co-founder, we come from elsewhere, but we've really built our roots in the US. So my business partner, Rodolfo Aldana, is from Colombia. I'm obviously Irish originally. I've been in the US and in that time always in New York for 16 years. He equally has been between the US and Canada for 14 plus years. I think you really have to build your roots here and understand the nuances and also obviously the connections as well.
Discuss those nuances, because that's what it's all about.
Yeah, I mean, when I did work at the big liquor company that before was mentioned, I often had people from different markets. One example is gin, right? So when I lived in the UK, that was my go-to after work beverage, gin and tonic, delicious. And then I came to the US, started drinking gin and tonics, realized they made them really badly. And people around me were drinking gin, and I realized I was drinking the wrong thing.
Now, when you say they make it badly, I mean, you get a bottle of gin, you pour a measure, and you get your tonic and slice them into ice and whatever. And that's it, surely, no?
Well, they free pour here, so there's no measured pour. So it's a loose, free hand, usually a heavy hand pour.
But tell me what that's about. I mean, is that a sales pitch, or... Well,
it's ingratiating you to the bartender. So they're kind of doing you a favor by giving you a heavy pour. But there's no real language. We have it at home, I'd say in Ireland, and in the UK, very measured serves, a single or a double. Here, it's kind of showing the generosity of the bartender by giving you a heavy pour. You then, in return, give him $1 or her $1 tip. That was kind of how it was. At the same time, tonic hadn't really evolved. So it could be on the gun, which is usually a syrup with some flat carbonation. So it wasn't like a fresh mini bottle or fresh can of tonic. So it was bad tonic.
Did you say on the gun?
Yes, on the gun.
Is that the little... Bzzz?
That's the thing that's usually controlled by Coca-Cola and has syrups, pretty high fructose corn syrup, flavored syrups that become
You're
cola.
You're putting me off already.
Cola, Sprite, all those alternatives, but they come out of a central pouch and then they get carbonated in the gun. So yeah, none of the fancy tonics made their way here. Long story short, it wasn't a great drink experience. And follow on kind of over the next 10 years, I had plenty of people trying to sell gin to Americans and waiting to tap into the huge rise that we saw in Europe of flavored gins, local gins, craft gins, but it never broke through. Partly why, our product Perch is based in agave, because that's been and will continue to be the biggest growth sector in the alcohol space for the next decade.
And if I'm right, agave makes tequila, or
agave is what it turns into tequila with fermentation and distillation. Yeah.
And when you're trying to build, say, take a gin and you're trying to promote it, that presumably in a vast market takes vast amount of money.
Absolutely. Building beautifully crafted, great quality, if it's Irish whiskey, if it's Mexican mezcal, if it's Japanese whiskey, or if it's British gin, it takes so much money and so much time. And with the liquor distribution, the way it is in the US, it's quite specific. You cannot sell directly to a retailer.
It's mind-bending, because we have done many items about the booze business on the podcast, and it's statewide, and then distributors don't actually sell the stuff, and it's very strange. But it does all come out of the prohibition period.
It does, and it comes out of the margin of your product as well. So it's very expensive to launch a brand here too. So people tend to start with like a cool neighborhood or a consumer community that they want to tap into, but you will grow slowly, expensively in the on-premise. We call that for the bars and restaurants. And it's why I haven't really taken up some of the great opportunities that came my way to join some of these craft spirits. Gorgeous packaging, which I'm a sucker for, great stories, lovely liquids. But I just knew the amount of money it would take. And there's so many great brands competing for that same space. Was never going to be something that was going to be an easy job. Hence why we're doing non-alcoholic in aluminum cans, and we can ship to every state and into Canada in its first year.
Yours is a fabulous growth story, but plenty to do, as they say. Talk to me from the very beginning, because the backstory of Parch is interesting as well.
Yeah, I think it's a real personal story, and it's a partnership story. So I think on the personal side, my business partner, we met briefly in our Diageo days, but never worked together, didn't know each other well, really. He was running the agave portfolio, like we mentioned before. Tequila, mezcal falls under that, and newer acquisitions that Diageo had made, so small craft brands, but really set to be the biggest kind of growth trajectory for the company in the US. So he was running that, and he was diagnosed with a very aggressive form of cancer. He quickly sought treatment, and during that 2 years of treatment and recovery, removed alcohol from his life. In recovery, he then went back to socializing more and did not go back to drinking alcohol, but missed the ritual, the flavor, the craft, the story, and the experiences and the socializing that came with those drinks that he used to love. I had left Diageo. I built brands for different startups or different established companies. And he came to me as a project. He wanted to build a new non-alcoholic brand. So I built Parch for him.
Where did the name come from?
We had a different name when we started. The name came from our creative directors, who are a small agency who we brought into the fold as co-business owners. It was one of multiple names that they pitched us.
It's very memorable. Very nice.
It's a perfect
It resonates in Ireland anyway. I'm parched.
Absolutely. No, it's a great name. And there's very few names that are available. Trademarking is really tough. Obviously, people try and remove all the vowels, add umlauts, all this fancy stuff. So it's great to find.
Fancy. It is now tired taking an E or an O out of something and just say, that looks wrong.
So it's rare to get a real word that actually delivers on your product. And for us, we're built out of the desert, the Sonoran Desert. Dry is language that's around both the alcohol sector, whether it's dry wine or dry martinis, but also going dry states, dry January. It was, a great word. And we have a lot of competitors in our space who, I probably disparagingly say it, use faux French to kind of name their brands. It's a very American. France is very stylish and chic, and they think using a Frenchy name will help elevate the proposition. So it was quite refreshing to find a word that everyone can pronounce and is just very everyday.
And where do you produce? Where do you distribute? What's the product?
So because agave was at the core of Rudy's personal journey and career journey, it was also something I've been watching quite closely as the market evolved. So for the past decade, it's been kind of growing slowly. The last 5 years, it started really to gain momentum. So you see celebrities getting involved.
Now, talk to me about that, because I'm always interested. We had, I forgot their name, but about where fashion comes from. Where would that little twist in, say, the consumption of agave drinks come from? Is it driven, as I think you were about to say, by celebrity, and who got the celebrity to endorse that would have given it the impetus to grow?
I think it's more than just a celebrity. Celebrity comes later once it's kind of a proven growth trajectory. For the alcohol industry, which is really interesting, it's so connected to lifestyle and also travel. So if you look back at when the Caribbean cruise kind of market took off for Americans, that's also correlated to the rise of rum and rum tiki cocktails. If you look at what's happening with agave, it's, I think, a direct correlation to travel to Mexico. And the last decade, both amongst kind of package tour holiday operators and also the kind of in-the-know cool surf crowd or Tulum crowd, have been really putting Mexico on a map from a tourism point of view. It's the same reason Aperol does so well. It transports you emotionally to, the coast of the Mediterranean. So with the rise of travel to Mexico has come the rise of the drinks that are associated with that. Then George Clooney gets on board and sells for $1 billion to Diageo. The Rock gets on board and creates Terramana, and it's kind of a runaway success. The other huge thing with tequila, and I love looking across the board of wine, spirit, and beer, like how these different flavors play into each other. Tequila has and had a huge health benefit halo, kind of starting in the LA wellness set. There was a kind of a rumor that it was keto friendly. So when keto was big, a lot of people turned away from alcohol, but they gave themselves a pass on tequila because it was keto friendly.
There's something very curious about that.
Yeah, but that was a certain subset who were like, I don't drink anymore, but if I'm going to drink, I'll drink like the cleanest alcohol, and that's tequila.
Bottle of tequila.
I think but they're drinking it with just soda, seltzer water. So there really is no flavor to it. It's booze and water. But that started an entire new category, the ranch water category, and the spiked cocktails in a can, which are basically that tequila base. Huge market opportunity. But there's got the health wellness is beautiful, and it's coming along now much more, is the aged tequila piece. So tequila has the power of being a plant-based product, very visually a plant-based product. You can say corn or two, but there's an edginess and otherness to the agave plant is quite wild, and harvesting it in itself is a real art and artisan experience.
You love this stuff, don't you?
Yeah, it's a beautiful, it's got
No, I'm looking at you. You are loving this stuff. You're almost salivating.
Yeah, I mean, I do like to drink it too, alcohol or non-alcoholic, but it's a beautiful story to tell, and that's what sells these alcohols. Whether it's the Bourbon Trail through Kentucky and now expanding into Texas for whiskeys, whether it's wine in Napa, whether it's like orchards in the East Coast, they're all storytelling places, and they come from a closer connection to agriculture.
And sell me the Parch story.
Parch is built out of both that kind of agave story. We do import agave from Mexico, from Jalisco, the highlands. It's the finest grade, so it's called Blue Weber agave. It is organic and fair trade, so we try and seek out the same raw material that's usually fermented and distilled into the alcohol version. And then we pair it with desert fruits and botanicals. So our home base is Tucson, Arizona. And while road tripping on a family road trip during COVID, I was already exploring this space, but we stumbled upon some great people and some great places, including the Mission Garden in Tucson. It is an agricultural museum, if you will. It's kind of under the tutelage of Jesus Garcia, who is an ethnobotanist down there. And what he does is he goes to ghost towns, so where there used to be oil or mining, and he finds in those ghost towns old trees, so fig trees, pomegranate trees, different variants of plants that have been growing wild, native species, and really researches what thrives in this specific region. And Tucson is very unique. It's part of this larger ecosystem, the Sonoran Desert, that has biannual rainfall, so it's incredibly lush. It totally changed my perspective of what a desert looked like. It also happens to be a UNESCO Food Heritage Site, a city. And in the Mission Garden, which is a charity partner of ours, and we give 1% to the desert, we say, through the Mission Garden, they research arid-adapted crops, native plant species, and ethnic grains.
And are you making the product in Tucson, Arizona?
We are not making it in Tucson, Arizona. We are looking to find a partner who can handle our very complex liquid there, but we are officially registered there as a business. We have a network of brand ambassadors and members of the team based there, but currently our production is in Vegas, outside Vegas. So Southwest still, but we make a very complicated product that not many people are able to make yet.
And shipping or selling where?
We sell to 46 states in the US. So we were really fortunate. Again, we don't have to abide by those spirits rules that we talked about before. Within our first year, we're about a year and 2 months old now. Within our first year, we were able to be available, shipping to 46 states and shipping into Canada.
And when you grow, as one does, you need to put more capital into the business. Now, talk to me about raising capital and funding.
Yeah, it's one of my favorite topics. It's something I definitely was not experienced at. I don't come from money. I hadn't gone through the banking system, like as in I hadn't been at a hedge fund or a VC space. And you need a lot of money to build a drinks brand. So we started with friends and family. And
as John Teeling, the distiller, frequently says friends, family, and fools. Make sure you got the third F in.
I don't want to disparage any of our amazing investors because I don't know if I agree with that. Friends
No. He says it with a big smile on his face.
Yeah.
Because he started his Teeling brand that made him many, many millions with FFF, friends, family, and fools. That's what he says, and it's on one of our podcasts.
Amazing. Yeah, friends and family for sure, but it wasn't directly, very few family. I think Rudy had some family members involved. But friends, they're really friends by extension, so a friend of a friend. So maybe that's my third F: a friend of friends, family, and friends of a friend.
That's going to make 4 Fs.
Maybe 4 Fs. So, we were just really fortunate to have a really tight story at a time when obviously raising money is quite challenging, but this category, non-alc, is getting a lot of awareness, and it continues to deliver growth each year, to the extent that I tell this at some of the conferences I do, or a couple of data points. So the Japanese government has launched a competition to find new ideas to create new alcohol brands for its younger consumers, LDA plus, so legal drinking age and above, because people are turning away from alcohol in Japan, and their tax base is falling as a result. The wine industry in Italy and France has been declining for 10 years. The Canadian government just revised their guidelines on what is considered safer consumption of alcohol.
Get away. I love that. They've changed the guidelines.
From 12 drinks a week to 2 drinks a week. Ireland are putting...
sorry, I thought it was going to the other way. Because
No. Sorry, no. And then Ireland are putting cancer warnings on their labels. So they're taking a really strong stance, which I really believe in. So there's such fundamental shifts happening that all the data is pushing. And also at the same time, a lot of folks were hoping that the green rush, so rushing into cannabis investment, which was the last kind of 5 to 10 years in the US, would deliver a lot of growth quickly, and it's been mired by a lot of difficulties.
Where does that leave you with your funding?
It means that people are quite open to investing in.
And are you raising?
We just closed our first friends and family round. Okay. Our next round will be our first priced round, which we're quite interested in.
When might we see that?
I think into dry January. So we'll cross over the year. Dry January will be really big for us. And then into February was probably when we'll start raising a priced round.
And I'm sorry to bring it all back home, but when will we see Parch crossing the Atlantic and landing into your native Terenure or anywhere else? Anywhere else?
Somebody's asked me that, but I don't see a huge opportunity for agave in Ireland. I need the market to really understand the tequila space first, and then we would come in as an alternative. And honestly, there's so much opportunity in the US. It was back to your very first point that people are challenged to get into the US. Once you're here, there's so much opportunity. And our only issue right now is we've been out of stock for a few weeks. We can't make it fast enough.
That's perfect segue for me, because I was going to ask a question about, is it like a Chinese menu, just too many options? If you're that big, that you've got so many options. Should I open in Washington State?
Right.
Should I go to Tucson? Should New York? Florida? I mean, it's vast.
It's vast. And for us, it's really important about building the community in the right way and understanding where those pockets are.
And how do you do that?
Through Instagram. So we have now about 11,000 followers on Instagram, and I manage that account or that channel. And I have one-to-one conversations with huge fans of the brand. We do a lot of events. So we partner with folks. We're never going to be the ones throwing the huge party. That's not our specialty. But we work with people who throw the most epic sober dance party in the world. They're called Daybreaker, and they've been throwing parties all around the world, and mostly in the US as well. And we're their cocktail of choice at all their events. So we'll outsource and we'll partner with people who know better than us. So we do plunge baths, we do steam baths, like all this wellness kind of centers. We do dip clubs, which are cold plunge, kind of wild swimming. We do female entrepreneur gatherings. We do sports ride-alongs with cycling, mountain biking, anything with that kind of fun community aspect. And I think that's why non-alc is so exciting, because the next generation, I talk about more like younger millennials and Gen Zers, they want to connect in other places outside the pub. And when I think about me growing up, where did I go when I was like 18 to 29, or, you went to one place, the pub, surrounded by alcohol, and drank one thing all night, which was alcoholic. And people want to get out and explore the world and have these experiences together, but not in a very kind of narrow view of what socializing was.
I haven't spoken to them. I have no idea whether they're open to the idea, but there's a brand in Ireland called Gym Plus Coffee. They're athleisure wear. Do you know them?
Yes, I've heard of them.
I think that you guys could team up. There's something in that. I'll make that introduction.
Okay, brilliant.
While I am waiting to make that introduction, we have one final question that we ask all of our guests. Who would Isla Byrne hire in a heartbeat?
I was supposed to meet this person last night at an event, and I'm still going to find him in New York at some stage. But Jack McGarry, I think, is really a really interesting person to, hire. He's got a great job. He runs Dead Rabbit and has many plans up his sleeve. So I don't think he needs a job. But I think As an advisor or an expert in the field, I think he's created the Dead Rabbit, the best bar in the world.
Officially.
He doesn't drink himself, and he creates beautiful cocktails.
John Teeling, the aforementioned, is a teetotal, has been always. And he's only made zillions out of alcohol.
Interesting.
And lots of other things.
Yeah, so that's probably the first person who comes to mind.
Okay, well, listen, Isla, continued success, obviously. We really want to see with the drink. PARCH, and you will find it in any good health store. Where do you sell it?
Well, we sell in Whole Foods in Southern California, Sprouts. Online is probably the best option. So Amazon, drinkparch.com.
But you won't ship it to Ireland, will you?
No, sometimes it gets stuck at the border. Yeah, at customs.
Oh, well, we'll get around that somehow because that's what we do. Isla Byrne, thank you so much for joining us on That Great Business Show.
Thank you so much, Conall.
And that's it from That Great Business Show, episode 168. Great business insights and inspiration, all thanks to our lovely sponsor, daft.ie, Ireland's #1 property website. If you're looking for your first home, or maybe you're looking to upsize or downsize, make sure you visit daft.ie to find that next place you call home. Sign up for email updates and we'll send you your own personal copy of the podcast, and sign up at thatgreatbusinessshow.com. Share us, like us, and give us 5-star reviews, please. It all helps. Advertise with us, of course, on That Great Business Show, and you can engage with our incredible audience of entrepreneurs, business owners, and investors. We recorded at the Dublin South Podcast Studios, where today's sound engineer is Alison O'Dwyer, and later the dynamic duo of studio manager Peter Rice and post-production engineer Neil Horner ensure that we remain the world's best-sounding business podcast. And one final thing, a big shout out to the Irish Podcast Awards, where we won the highly commended Business Award. We're happy. So from me, Conall O Morain, brichas to you all, agus slán tamil.